Now let's see when we can use the function called transfer invoice. Let's assume that your secretary is on the phone, your client, and she has some questions about the particular invoice. So first thing I'll do is I'll just simply go into invoice inquiry and pull up an invoice on the screen. So while she's talking to me, I can take a look at this invoice. And she goes, everything seems to be okay on the invoice except you billed the wrong party. I told you, well, she didn't tell me, but now she's telling me that the invoice should be sent to the State Farm Insurance, not to our office. So when I go to a repository and pull up that invoice that she's talking about, let's look up the PDF version of it. So what she's saying that we sent an invoice to Daniel Bergsteiner Chapman. Now she's telling me that this invoice should have been sent to State Farm Insurance. Now I hate to rebill all this and void this invoice out and rebill because it's been a lot of work. Now we don't have to do that since everything else in the system, in the invoice is okay. We can just simply transfer this invoice from Daniel Berg to the State Farm adjuster. So let's see how we can do that. Now, before I do that though, this invoice that archived is wrong because this is something that is shouldn't be in the repository. So first thing I'll do, I'll simply go ahead and delete that out of there because that's a wrong invoice. Let's save and close out of that. Now transfer invoice, you go to billing, bring up a function called transfer invoice. Put an invoice number in, enter, and then simply right click and go into the view mode, and then you can see that right now Daniel Berg is the sold to and billed to. Now billed to is wrong, we need to switch that, so I simply go click the binoculars next to the billed to contact. Now I don't know the adjuster's names, so what I'll do, I'll pull up a farm called State something Farm. So I'm going to go to State Farm Insurance. I'm going to select that. And once I select, I can do a search, show me all adjusters for that State Farm Insurance company. And let's say this time Kerry Lincoln is the adjuster. So we'll go ahead and double click to select it. So now I switch the party, billing party, to Kerry Lincoln of State Farm Insurance. And we'll go ahead and save and close out of that. Now I need to reprint this invoice because client wants the a corrected invoice also CC to him too. They can have it on their file. So I'm going to billing. So we already saw how to reprint posted invoices, and we're going to pull up the invoice number, and we'll just right click and we'll go preview, and then I'll go the original invoice. Now what you'll notice that is that at the top it's now Kerry Lincoln of State Farm Insurance, and on the bottom of the invoice, in the body itself, you will actually have ordered by, and then attorney and farm information will be listed in the middle of the invoice so that insurance company will know who the attorney was. There's one more thing you need to do. Since we deleted that original PDF from the archive repository, you need to re-archive this PDF version. So go click on that send invoice and click the repository server. So this will archive the PDF version of this new invoice that's being sent to State Farm into our repository. So go ahead and just put it that, click on it, and then it'll archive the new invoice into repository.